Hello everybody, welcome back. Before we went to commercial, we talked about Helena's amazing artwork and how she uses it to discuss, social issues, and most importantly, by way of discussing social issues, she wants to empower women. But now we're going to talk about her lifestyle, which is holistic. And I'm actually, really interested in that, but I don't think I have quite yet mastered it the way you have. I decided when I was 12 to become vegetarian, and and then 5 years ago I started practicing yoga, and I have to tell you that's when I figured out who I wanted to be in this world, what I wanted to do, how I wanted to affect people, in what way. So tell me about holistic living and what it means to be a holistic practitioner. I mean, like, what does one need to do to live that lifestyle completely?
I think it's a natural lifestyle. I mean, the easiest way to describe holistic is mind, body, spirit, soul. It's the combination and the attention to all three. And it's just natural. I mean, honestly, if we really go back in time, a lot of people were living much more simply. It's when we started to have the cars, the internet, things get complicated and we started to get in our mind. And when we're in our mind, we're in our ego. And so there's this downward spiral of desire, more, bigger, better, faster, which is what America has been built on. And I really want, and I stress to all Ethiopian Americans and people around the world, get back into your own roots, get back into your own selves. And I mean that as in a social, society, human context, like get back within. Not we can do it on an individual plane, but also as people. That's where our power is. And when we start to look outside of ourselves, that's when we become disconnected. Right. So now there's this whole wave of holistic. Yes, right? And exactly. This means, what does it mean? It means to go back to what we were already doing. And so you pay, in this country, you pay more money to eat organic food.
Yes, which is crazy.
So, I mean, it's nothing new. People say, oh, you do yoga, it's an Indian system. I say it's a human system. Right. It's just a natural way of life. And I've written articles about how Ethiopians, we naturally practice those things. Yes. And it's in our culture. It's not just in a religious context. And though within religion there's ways that we practice things very naturally. Right. It's just our way of being. And so I think that is really what I teach people to remember. Right.
When I read your bio, and it said that you are certified in master yoga teaching or something to that sort, and I said, wait a minute. I was like, am I missing something? Because I was like, I need to know what she does different than what I do, because I know I got into it because I needed to be at peace with myself. I've tried everything and nothing was just helping me center myself, just kind of just calm down and just relax and meditate and like have a conversation with myself. And I knew that giving up, eating meat and things at 12 was more of me rebelling. And at the time I didn't really, say, oh, I'm going to only eat organic food. But as I grew older, I was learning that I'm doing this because now I want to do this, because when I do this thing, I feel so much better about myself. I'm more reasonable. I think for others before I think about myself, and I do things that not only just empowers me, but empowers others. You are certified in so many different levels of everything in the book, holistic. I don't even know if I have time to list them all. As a master of this thing, what do you think is the first step for people that don't practice, living this way, that they should do?
Well, first of all, thank you for calling me a master. I don't think I
I mean, I was just like, whatever she's doing, obviously it's working and she needs to share it with the world.
Well, I do take time to study, and I think the lifestyle of being an artist, I've been able to make my own schedule, and so people ask me, how do you have time to, take these trainings? I just make the time, and I'm able to do that And I feel like if you want something or if you want to learn something long enough, hard enough, you know, then you're going to make the time to do it.
Absolutely.
So it's really just focused energy, you know. But in terms of my practice, I am a holistic practitioner. I specialize in energy work, body work, and metaphysics, applied metaphysics. And so, I mean, that includes...
What are these things mean? Like, I'm one of those people that's saying, what are you saying?
And it's always great because I work with private clients. I have an art studio, but I also have a wellness center space.
Right.
And in the wellness center, which is 2 blocks from the art studio, which is great,
Yeah.
I usually get people that don't know what I'm saying, but then we have a consultation, like initial time, and we'll talk about what's going on with them. And I'll just say, this reminds me of, and I'll just plug in an application, and it'll be helpful. And that's the most important thing, is to help. I mean, I've learned these things so that I can really help myself, my family, my friends, my community.
Absolutely.
But then it started to grow and said, you know, if I can combine this with my art, then I can really show how self-expression is healing, and how, you know, living naturally can be an example for people. And so that's more of what I would like to do. Right. But in terms of all the energy work, body work,
yes.
I mean, I'll just say that, you know, I studied yoga, I studied Reiki, which is energy hands-on healing, so I'm a Reiki master, which means I've completed that training.
Right.
And I've studied applied metaphysics formally, and Thai massage, shiatsu, meditation. So anyway, all of that encompasses how to use the mind, the body, and the spirit at optimum levels, and how with that we can release ourselves of disease and dysfunction in our personal lives. And some people say, oh, I need to be sick to get this kind of practices. That's for somebody who is ill. Sometimes it can help people with their symptoms, and it can also help people introduce them to stress reduction and that sort of thing, which is usually what clients come for. But I always believe that, you know, balance is relative. One moment you are balanced, and you are well, and you're eating well, you are exercising, and then the next moment something happens. And the way that the world is there's always going to be that something. It's how you handle that something.
Absolutely.
You know, so some people, their way is they go to church, they, you know, eat a big meal, they, you know, and some people have unhealthy ways to handle those things. Right. And then they may need a reminder of how to, or they want to be introduced to something to reduce their stress, or to lower their blood pressure, or to assist them. And I've worked with people with more serious illnesses like cancer and diabetes, and people who are transitioning as well. Absolutely. And then some people who just want to, you know, lose weight, or, you know, who want to, they've had hard days. And so that's what I do as a holistic practitioner. And so that title encompasses, I mean, it could be acupuncture, it could be, but those are my particular backgrounds. So, you know, there's so many people that call themselves holistic practitioners, but those are my methods that I use that have worked for me, and so they focus more on energy and body work. And there are some Habesha people, some Ethiopian people that I've met these days who are practitioners and who teach. Some Ethiopian yoga instructors. I've connected with some that teach around the country and in the U.S., as well as people that have been inspired to go back to Ethiopia.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but does it matter what way holistic living is taught to someone like myself? I mean, is the outcome different, or is it going to be the same? I know you're telling me that there's people that are going around, you know, teaching holistic living now that are Ethiopians, both here and back home.
I think finding a teacher that you resonate with is the most important thing. There's so many different styles of living holistic. I mean, there's so many forms of yoga. There's, you know, some people may just find that going, you know, running after work and eating a salad, you know, and, you know, doing something for their spirit, like reading something inspirational, that suffices. And some people want to maybe a deeper deepen their experience, they might want to take like a walking meditation retreat. I mean, there's so many opportunities, and there's a lot of opportunities within Ethiopia. I have relatives who've done very similar meditations and extensive retreats in Ethiopia that I've done here, and so it's just very interesting. But I think internationally, I think the world is looking for a shift. I don't think it's just one country or one type of people. I think that that the world is looking for something more meaningful rather than just consuming and exploiting the planets. And so, you know, I think that that's just where things are going.
Absolutely. Well, to those of you back home, don't go anywhere. And if your friends just walked in, as usual, you could always catch it again on Sunday. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back, and we're going to talk more about holistic living. Hello everybody, welcome back. As you know, I'm still here talking to Helena, who is an amazing artist, but also a holistic practitioner. And for those people who might just be joining us, can you briefly describe what holistic living means?
Holistic living is paying attention to and balancing mind, body, and spirit for a oneness feeling, a feeling of being whole.
Absolutely. I love that feeling. I think I kind of practice that, and I'm getting better at it every day. But earlier you mentioned something that, you know, us Ethiopians back home kind of do that on a regular basis. And on your visit to Ethiopia, did you have any opportunity to go to any of, you know, the Ethiopian meditational places, the churches, and you know, things like that? Because I know you said something about how some people don't want to take medications to heal themselves, that they just allow the body to heal on its own by doing certain things. And I think I'm one of those people, because I do not take any medication. Like, I do not believe in taking medication. And people usually say, oh, you're a vegetarian, do you supplement for, you know, your lack of protein? And I said, no, you know, I just eat whatever I feel like eating, but I never really supplement for things like that. Am I hurting myself, or am I eating myself? I mean, what do you think?
Well, I believe in knowing thyself. I keep going back to knowing yourself. How do you know yourself? I believe an integrative approach is healthiest. And although I'm a holistic practitioner, I do make referrals to naturopathic doctors, people who use herbs or different sorts of more, you know, less harsher medicinal things to my clients, as well as I do find that conventional, what's considered conventional medicine can be useful. I mean, if I broke my leg, God forbid,
yes, exactly.
I am not going to meditate that one away. I will go to the hospital. No. I have no problem with that, you know. Yes. But the whole idea is more preventative, and there's a restorative aspect. Some of my understanding is that some of conventional medicine can be very traumatic for people. If you have had surgery, you know, you may need to find a way to restore yourself back to wellness. And if you find that you're healthy, a lot of people I know are scared to go to the doctors. They're scared to go to a naturopathic doctor, or anybody. They don't want to know anything. I had one client, you know, who was just petrified of a doctor, and I just thought that was very interesting.
It is interesting. No, I do go to the doctor. I do give my checkups. I just don't take medications.
But you know, I think that you need to know yourself, because some people have a lot of allergies. And they have a lot of food allergies. They are allergic to certain types of medications, and so they need something more gentler. Some people are very sensitive in that way. And then some people just really need something preventative regularly to build their immune system up. And so that could be exercise. I mean, it's so sad how little exercise people get in the modern world unless they are consciously making an effort to do it. And I really am a fan of a lot of the initiatives to put exercise in schools, such as yoga. I do teach at a certain area, private schools in DC. I teach youth yoga, and they soak it up. They soak up all the meditation.
I'm so going to come to like one of these classes.
And I think that is a great way to go. It doesn't have to be. I mean, some people don't gravitate towards that, but some sort of attention is what I'm saying. And I've repeated that word. I don't want to sound repetitive and redundant, but you'll be surprised at what paying attention does. Pay attention to your bodies. Okay, so this isn't feeling a certain type of way, or I'd like to feel this more often. Okay, so how can I do that? And that's my job as a holistic practitioner, is I help guide people in that direction. And since I'm an artist, I tend to do it more creatively, like, okay, let's just meditate and let's just paint afterwards. So I teach great intuitive painting classes. I do a lot of community classes, so if anyone's interested in any of that stuff, they can find out on my website, which is metaexperience.com. My business name is The Meta Experience. So. And I'm a big fan of finding ways, but I'm not a medical doctor, so there's a big difference, and so I want to illustrate that difference because it's complementary, and also it's preventative, and so those things are really important. I think some people use supplements, but they don't want to figure out what the bigger issue is, so for those reasons I say go to your medical doctor. But if you're looking for a lifestyle, I don't know if your medical doctor may give you that. You might want to check out a holistic practitioner, and so that's why they complement each other.
No, that's great. So if both as an artist and as a holistic practitioner, what is the advice that you want to give to this world that is trying to find, its way back to this holistic way of living, the way we used to before? Because like you said, nowadays everybody thinks that yoga is a trend and eating organic food is a trend, but they don't realize that we still do that back home in Ethiopia. Like, that is the one thing that I love about being in Ethiopia, is that whether it's your mom, your grandmother, your neighbors, everybody's eating the same food. Nobody feels like they're outdoing the next one, so they need to catch up to that person, So what is your advice to the non-Ethiopians that are watching this that might not know the organic way of living?
I think that being natural, knowing yourself, knowledge is power. Knowledge of who you really, truly, authentically are. And we talked about the fads that are going on with commercial yoga. I have no problem with that because it's reaching out to people, and so people want to learn things, and so I have no problem with those sorts of things. I myself don't really teach it in a very commercial way. I don't have a problem with that, but I teach in a more artistic, creative way. But I think that it's giving people an opportunity to even sit there and ask, like, okay, so this feels good. What about this feels good to me? And so I think that keep it simple. Best thing is knowledge of self, and being yourself, being authentically you. And so if you are looking to be living a more holistic, stress-free life, find out how that resonates with you. Look into your own ancestry, look into your own culture. Say, okay, this is a traditional food that supplements me, and it may happen to be organic because okay, that's great. And if you are not impressed with that, then find something that does. I mean, sometimes just having moments of stillness, after a busy day, that might be your way of getting in tune with yourself. And so anyway, I think that it's helpful. It's been helpful for me. I've seen a lot of people who are, some of my clients are regular guys, as they like to call it. Like, I don't know nothing about that stuff, but I like what you do. So, for regular folks, who may not be interested in esoteric studies, it's okay. You don't have to get a new religion or stop eating meat or, wear different clothes. And, nobody's asking you to be a flower child.
Yes, exactly.
But at the same time, what can you do for yourself and your family, that is healthy and that is optimum? And I think there was this bad stereotype of artists. I won't say bad, I won't judge it, but there was this stereotype where artists would die young at an early age because of maybe a harsh lifestyle on alcohol, drugs, promiscuous, whatever it is. And so we have historically had this bad rap, being kind of out there crazy, and that was supposed to be the source of inspiration, was the eccentricity. And although, I have there's nothing wrong with being eccentric, I don't feel like you have to be unhealthy. And so I'm just a proponent of being a healthy artist in mind, body, and soul, and teaching others that they can be that way too.
Okay, that is like the most empowering thing that I've heard, and I'm going to take your advice, not just, you know, people that are going to be watching the show. But, you know, we have come to an end, and I'm sorry to say that this has to end because I'm really enjoying this conversation. But I ask everybody one very important question, you know, when they come on to my show, and that is, what is your Africa?
What is my Africa?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a really cool question.
Yeah.
No one's asked me a question like that.
Yeah.
What is my Africa? My Africa is my being. I do believe in a non-romanticized way that Africa is the motherland, you know.
Yeah.
I'll take that, you know.
Yes.
So I feel like we're all Africans, essentially.
Yes.
And so I think that it's my spirit, it's my being, it's the planet, it's Earth. So, you know, that's what I feel that is.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Helena, for, you know, making time to be on Nunu Wako Show to talk about your beautiful artwork and share your holistic lifestyle with us. And hopefully all of our viewers back home have learned something from you. And I want you all to know, whether you are in Ethiopia, America, Europe, Middle East, or the other nations in Africa, that if you are eating organic food, I say you continue eating organic food, because that is the healthy way to live. And I want to give a very big shout out to one of my biggest fan on Facebook, who I promised I would shout him out, Abraham Hewitt. Thank you so much for being one of my biggest supporters. I love you, and I love all of you. See you next time. Bye.